Good afternoon and welcome back to LeagueWise and today's installment of Finn's 5. Once again, I'm your host, Chad Finn, and in this video, I'll be giving you my 5 starters for each role in the DraftKings LPL summer split. It's a 2-game slate that locks at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Saturday, June 6th. Before I get into the slate, a little review from last night. If you watched last night's video, thank you very much. I picked both games correctly, but did not anticipate the Sunning Gaming versus LNG game to be so low scoring. That lack of scoring allowed EDG, even in a loss, to outscore Sunning, unfortunately leaving me out the money. So I guess it was kind of both good and bad. I felt good, though, with the picks, and hopefully they helped you more than they helped me. In the end, we end up starting the summer split 2-0 in game picks and 0-3 in DFS tourneys. Like I said, I play the single entry, but I'll go ahead. I'll take it though. I normally win at a higher rate than that. I'm assuming continue to pick winners, and that's probably the most important thing. Picking the winners in League of Legends DFS is vital and will always give you a chance to place, and placing's good because it puts you in the money. So let's see if we can keep it going and turn it around at the same time. The featured games, I want to say tonight, but tomorrow morning. I got a fly in here. Shoe fly. I don't know if I should edit this out or just leave it. Y'all might like that. Hopefully it's gone. I think it took a perch. It's going to watch the show. The featured games are Game 1, V5 versus DMO, and Game 2 is OMG versus RNG. The 2020 spring split saw only one of these teams make the playoffs. One just missed, and the other two occupied the cellar pretty much all season long. RNG finished in 6th and made the playoffs with a record of 7-4, only to lose to EDG 1-3 in the first round. OMG just missed the playoffs, placing 8th with a record of 6-5. DMO finished 16th with a record of 3-9, and V5 saw no victories, finishing 0-12 and holding down last place. In fact, they only won one game all season long, which is unbelievably bad. In our first matchup, we've got, like I said, the two worst teams from the LPL spring split, but with some new faces. Biggest new face, in my opinion, is probably Assassin, V5. He's a new V5 coach that they hired. Former mid laner. Don't know a whole lot about him, but I will say this. He's got to be better than what they had in their last year. I'm not really sure what direction that team was trying to go, who they were trying to be, what their play style was. It was confusing. They also added Bubu, I believe is how it's pronounced, from Sunning S in the top lane. Don't know how this is pronounced. I should have checked it out. Wee, I think, or Wei. If you know, let me know in the comments. Maybe you have a link with the pronunciation. From Sunning at Jungle, Sam D from Sunning S as ADC, and PP God from FPX as support. A lot of new faces. DMO promoted 2 players from DMO Y, which is DMO Youth. It's their, I believe it's LDL team. Same thing with Sunning S. Sunning S is Sunning's LDL team as well. But they promoted 2 players to occupy the bot lane in Helper at ADC and Mizuki at support. Also worth noting, Twilla is not a new player. That is Jia Wei. He just changed his summoner name. So keep that in mind. DMO comes in at a -227 favorite to V5's +182 underdogs. So much turnover, like I said, really makes this a tough game to pick. Both these games are really tough to pick, actually. I like V5 actually to improve on spring split for a couple reasons. Number one, it's not that hard to improve on an 0-12 split where you only won one game. And like I said, I'm glad to see them go in a different direction. I really didn't like the way they tried to play the game during spring split. The philosophy seemed to center around their players being positionless. I guess the idea was maybe draft flexibility, but it obviously didn't work as well as planned or as well as they thought it would. Not even sure why anybody that understands the game of League of Legends would think that that works. It is certainly a specialty game. I can see players knowing maybe 2, possibly 3 positions at this level, but to expect them to even compete at the kind of level it takes to compete in the LPL, just I don't think that's feasible. I'm glad, like I said, they went in a different direction. Like I said, I really like V5 to improve, so much so that I almost picked them here in an upset. But in the end, I just think it's too early. I think they've got a lot of work to do. Chemistry has to be built between new players and coach, and all of that takes a little bit of time. So I'm going to go with consistency and stability in this game and pick DMO. However, if you are playing in a multi-lineup GPP tournament, taking V5 here could be contrarian. Well, not could be, will be contrarian. And if they end up winning, which I believe is a real possibility. I mean, let's not get confused. DMO isn't a juggernaut by any stretch of the imagination. And I actually think they might be a team on a decline instead of rising. If they win, it would put you in a great position, or at least a good position going into game 2. As a reminder, because I play one lineup in single entry tourneys, I'm going to go with DMO in this one. In game 2, we have OMG versus RNG. And they also have a couple new faces. OMG has added Elise, I believe it's pronounced, from V5, and RNG has brought in, his name is New, from Legend Esports. Legend Esports is another LDL team. It's kind of like the D League, I think, for the LPL. As far as this match goes, these were 2 very closely matched teams during the spring split. They played back on March 11th with RNG winning 2-1. Both teams were pretty dominant in their wins. RNG dominated for 2 wins. OMG dominated in their win. Pinnacle has OMG at a plus 137 underdog, with RNG at a minus 167 favorite. Not sure how I want to look at this game, actually. Looked at it for quite a while. Wanted to have this video out actually earlier than what it's going to be. But this game was really tough. Like I said, not knowing all the players, and even though there's just 2, it almost makes this one even harder, because I kind of feel I have a good feeling on the rest of the lanes, but that top lane, I just have no clue what either of these guys are going to do, or how they're going to affect game plans from last season. So much unknown. But I'm going to go ahead and assume top is a wash for now until one of those players show that they're, here to stay. And I'm going to focus on the other roles. And I'm not going to. What I did is I focused on the other roles and really didn't overcomplicate it. If everybody noticed that did watch the matches this morning, they are playing or starting the season out in patch 10.11. And in that, bot play matters even more than it did in 10.10. And I think there's a clear skill difference bot lane, with RNG holding a significant advantage. In their last meeting, Betty dominated, going a combined 16, 2, and 12, compared to SMLZ's combined 2, 5, and 13. Most people are excited, or not excited, I should say. Most people are expecting OMG to take a step forward in this summer session. I don't know. I'm not all that sure. I think if I were to bet on it, I would probably bet on the side of regression. Really don't think I need to break this one down more than that. Like I said, I looked at everything else. There's nothing really noteworthy. Bot lane decides this one, and I expect RNG to get this split off on the right foot. So that leaves us with DMO and RNG for lineup construction. And here are Finn's 5. At top, and I'm not crazy about it, but I'm going to go ahead and roll with the one carryover top laner from Spring Split, and that's Natural from DMO at 6,600. Just don't know enough about the other guys. Need to see him play before I feel comfortable. Otherwise, I just feel like I'd be guessing, and I don't want to do that. I feel as though the chemistry that DMO will have will see any skill difference through over the course of the game. Even if Natural gets off to a slow start, I still expect him to have a better game than his counterpart, which is Bew. So like I said, I do expect V5 to be a much improved team this season, or at least to be mildly improved this season. I don't expect it to be tonight, though. Too much new going on early season with V5. Natural was, pretty below average throughout the spring, but hopefully he can get on Aatrox, Jax, or Set and get the summer off to a good start. In the jungle, I'm going to start RNG's XLB at 6,600. I like what XLB brings to the table in this matchup versus Hacker, especially if he can get on Rek'Sai, J4, or Trundle. I expect J4 or Ruxel to be or Rek'Sai to be a Ruxel. I don't know where that came from. I expect J4 or Rek'Sai to be priority bans for V5. But don't think they're going to take both away. I think there's other priority bans that are going to be more important, in that they're probably going to be fairly focused in the bot lane. In their last meeting, XLB went 11, 8, and 15 on Rek'Sai in 2 Lee Sin games. I really like XLB's champion pool, especially in this matchup. In a multi-tourney lineup, XLB could be a sneaky captain play. With potential of being the Slate's leading scorer, I think. So keep that in mind if you're playing in multi-lineup GPPs and need to differentiate yourself or your lineup. That might be a good way to do it. Staying with RNG, I am running Xiaohu, I believe it's pronounced, onto the Rift in what I believe to be a favorable matchup against Icon. In their last meeting, he went 8, 7, and 20 on Corki, Orianna, and Rumble versus Icon. And I think jungle, I think there's such a gap bot lane. And I've been wrong before. I don't see bot lane being competitive. And because of that, I think jungle will be able to focus more attention mid. Because like I said, I just think bot lane's going to be able to more than hold their own, if not be dominant in this one for RNG. Speaking of which, moving into the bot lane, we have Betty, and I expect a big summer split from Betty. In their last meeting, Betty went 16, 2, and 12 on Callista and 2 Misfortune games. I really don't expect much resistance here from SMLZ or the bot lane. I really think OMG has their hands full in this game tonight, or this morning, or tomorrow morning, however you want to look at it. Last but not least, at support, I'm going to take Midzuki from DMO. Really not much analysis here because I've never seen him play. I don't like making picks like this, but this ended up being strictly a salary play. And if I'm going to make that type of play, the first place I'm going to look to do it is always in the support position. Where is he at? There he's at 5,800. That gives us 3 RNG players and 2 DMO players in the Fin 5. You can figure out the rest from there. And that does it. Another edition of LeagueWise in the books. I hope you enjoyed Fins 5. And please don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and notification buttons below. And please feel free to leave a comment. Your input, good or bad, is important to me. Really trying to make this as valuable to y'all as I possibly can. And certainly have stepped out of my comfort zone on this. This is something I've never done before. Starting to really kind of enjoy it a little bit. So like I said, good, bad, whatever you want to say, let's chat. That said, thanks again for watching. This is Chad Finn saying stay safe and see you next time on the Rift.